All right, get us going from there. Lovely. All right. So, this was a little while back. When we last left our heroes, we had explored much of the cabin at the top of Deathfrost Mountain. What else? What did we learn? What did we learn about some of the places in the cabin?
We saw the amazing painting, The Crimson Herring by Van Gogh.
The Crimson Herring. Nice. No, I don't want to quit.
It was the remarkable timepiece.
That Edward took something from?
Maybe.
I love it. Edward's not even the thief. He still can't help taking things.
Speaking of things Edward took, there was also the bag of snuff.
Right. So I think the bag of snuff, like, I think that was finally. I think Basler at least explained to Edward like how mind-numbingly dangerous that was. So that was a good thing.
Yes.
Or possibly super enticing because potential godhood or something. So the users claim. But first adopters are always like super enthusiastic about tech. So
Don't use it. Don't throw it. Don't talk to it.
The clock thing. No, everyone was given strict instructions to not mess with the clock. Of course, somebody did. Who's currently carrying one of the marbles from the clock that the birds were pushing around?
Edward.
That would be me.
Edward.
I think I'm gonna put the marble into the bag of snuff just to keep it safe.
Edward, I think I'm gonna screw with it. Zitherhands. Longest nickname ever. Most appropriate and longest nickname ever.
I'm not actually doing that, but
yeah, that seems
tempting.
It's tempting for a number of terrible, terrible reasons.
So the marble attains godhood. Good job.
There was the marble contains godhead. Well done. There was the one bedroom with the supplies from the mountain climber. Or
found
Norquist's stuff with a bunch of supplies. I think there was some debate as to whether or not, although as we've learned more about Torwin, I have to think that Torwin would maybe a little, he was protesting, I don't want to take this dude's stuff. But I think A, now that you know that he's dead, and B, now that we know more about Torwin the Brave's, like, history of how we acquired his gear.
Stealing stuff in the first place?
I think maybe he's a little bit...
borrowing.
I think we could probably...
Borrowing.
I think we could probably retcon in that he's a little bit more sanguine about borrowing this
aggressively
gear.
Borrowing.
Yeah. We're just borrowing this.
He thinks the hero does protest too much.
So if you are so inclined, there are, what was it, 5 of you. So in the pack, here's the equivalent. Here's the equivalent of what's in the pack. There's 27 silver, which is just coins. There are 6 additional uses of adventurer's gear, which if you guys are familiar with, I think I mentioned kind of how it works in Dungeon World. It's sort of,
Schrodinger's equipment.
It's prepped stuff. So how prepared are you? Well, that is measured somewhat by how many adventure gear uses you brought with you. 10 rations worth of food and 16 hours worth of lamp light between the oil and the lamp itself, and 12 hours worth of candle light. So.
Well, he's dead. I'm sure.
How many hours of oil?
16.
He's dead.
Edward drops. Yeah.
To complete the
Edward
quest?
drops his objections to stealing the person's gear.
Yeah. Now that you know that he's basically a corpse-sickle out in the backyard, so. And I believe the last thing that had occurred was you guys had sort of settled on who's currently carrying the powder. Is it still Edward, but
yes.
Not messing with it? And we've got in another pouch somewhere. You got
no one has seen me mess with it yet.
Yeah, I think people will notice when you do. And I think, if I remember,
And in the category of most likely to attract bad shit,
in the I think the last thing anything had happened is somebody had gotten Basler to unlock the large padlock
Yes.
that was fastening the chains that were then fastening the trapdoor in the main room here. And
I took the chains off.
yep, Torwin took the chains off and flung the door, and there was a shaft leading down with rungs.
Snake?
No, not rungs. I'm sorry.
Handholds.
Handholds carved into the stone. No ladder to speak of, or anything of that nature, but at least that's.
and doesn't it get colder the farther down it is?
There is a little bit of cold, sort of. Your feet are cold, kind of standing near the thing.
She's
And,
already.
yeah, colder. I'll say colder. How about that?
So, are we planning on going down there?
Well, I think we've explored up here to the extent that we can, unless we want to, I don't know, stay up on top of the mountain as nightfall comes.
Yeah.
And you've probably got you've got a few more hours before nightfall. It wasn't so much like don't be up here at night as much as don't sleep up here.
Don't go to sleep.
Which, well,
There's a nice bed up here if you do.
a couple of beds, two comfy beds. One of which did not recently host a dead guy, to the best of your knowledge.
But adventure.
Zeke did warn us not to sleep up here.
Yep. Tiana is quite sure that the answers to her quest are below.
So, I could take a quick look down there. Probably the easiest.
Probably easiest. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. What does anyone else have to say to that? I'm kind of imagining.
But
Basler's.
adventure.
I also support somebody else going into danger.
That's almost exactly what I was imagining Basler saying and or thinking. So,
I will go down.
will you? Well, okay. So you have two people
In history, as the bravest hero ever.
Sure. So you've got Ash. Out of curiosity, as the GM, what are you thinking for going down? Like your robot raccoon, or you mean literally you?
No, literally me. Although the raccoon would be like option 2.
Joyce.
Yes. What am I? Should I be looking at something?
So Joyce, we're having pingy cutout issues.
Okay, let me see if I can make that any better.
You have not cut out for me, boys. So.
All right, let me just let me do this and reload.
Kay, are you set to no video?
Me?
Yeah. Great.
Okay, slowly it's loading
No.
people back in. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I killed the bandwidth stuff that was maybe happening over in what you call it, over in Roll20. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. And we'll go from there. How's that sound? Does that work?
Much better.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So, Torwin wants to go down for the glory. Ash wants to go down. I'm not sure why he wants to go down. Sure.
Inevitability.
Because yeah. I just processed your answer. That's a rather appropriate one.
Uh-huh.
I'm screwed anyway, so I might as well go.
That's about the most of it.
There you go. So what's the move? What's happening? I mean, does it turn into a shoving match at the top of the?
No, screw that. I'll let Torwin go. If he
Torwin
gets-
wants to go. Torwin can totally go.
Yeah.
But first, we are going to have something else. Where we at? Boom. And the clock starts running for a top of the hour, which you're pretty sure happened about like 30 minutes ago.
Hey, that's cool.
Is it?
Maybe I should go over and poke it.
Don't touch the clock.
Says the guy with part of the clock in his pocket.
That's why you shouldn't touch it.
Just means to
It's
get there
missing
first.
pieces.
Excellent reasons not to touch the clock. Don't do anything as crazy as what I have already done. There we go. So if I remember right, the last one was happening at right around, it was 11:44 and it was 12. This one is actually going off at 6. So it's been 30 minutes and now it's chiming 6, or it's starting to chime 6. The two birds come out of the door, and one of them, pushing its marble, the pigeon, pushing the marble, the raven pushing nothing, but still making the motions, obviously, as though
You don't look at Edward.
it were pushing something and not having any marble.
I would be much more disturbed if the raven stopped, put its wings on its hips, and looked at me menacingly.
So the birds get out there into the middle, and as the chimes sound, as happened last time, as the chimes sound, the birds peck at the marble. The was a raven. The raven
Yes.
pecks and does not encounter a marble, and the machine kind of like draws back up a little bit, and then it kind of the beak opens. It goes like it ratchets open, like it's going, and then it snaps shut, and it moves forward another couple little notches, and it starts like doing the peck motion really quickly and angrily at the other marble that the other bird was pushing. And when it starts, the other one starts speeding up.
Yeah, I'll see you guys down there.
And it just starts.
That's disturbing.
It starts going faster and faster. The tune on the thing kind of goes a little bit high, like pitchy, like it's like the spring's winding up too fast, and you hear this rather distinctive, like almost crunch of the glass of the marble breaking, and some sort of amber fluid dripping down the face of the clock, out of the marble, like dripping off the little rail and down to the thing. The birds stop for a second. The stuff isn't dripping's not the right word. It's running. It's the stuff is viscous enough that it's sticking together. And then the birds pause for a second, and then they both kind of ratchet forward one more notch, like a half an inch forward each, and they start
Hi,
out,
kids.
guys, out. Thank you. We have guests tonight, so everybody's got to explore. And they ratchet forward another notch, and they start pecking at each other's heads, like they're taking turns, like crack, 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 crack. And they're pecking at they're like some sort of like weird automaton animation of them pecking at each other's eyes, switching back and forth from one side to the other, like this side, right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, and then going back and forth like that. Which is about the first time that you notice that their little glass eyes are little amber beads too. What do you do?
I have to say, I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen next.
Are you fascinated as Edward or as Dave?
Oh, I'm
who's
fascinated. I'm
safe-
fascinated as Edward.
Oh.
Dave would be getting out of the blast radius.
Well, I meant as Dave, the player who is safely nowhere near this.
Well, Dave the player is kind of fascinated too, but I think Edward is kind of fascinated by what's going to happen next.
I see.
I'm not saying it's a smart thing on his part. Just
Is anyone else doing anything while these like little threadbare automaton birds like go into battle royale in front of this clock?
Yeah, I think Ash is just going to poke Tiana on the shoulder really quick. Be like, "I'll see you guys at the bottom of the pit."
Are you going down?
I think it's safer than here. The unknown is safer than what's going to go on with that clock. Because I hate that damn clock.
The unknown is say, okay. The unknown like cult gathering below the top of the frozen mountain is better than whatever's about to happen here.
Yeah.
Whoa! Do you guys see what those birds are doing?
Right when
This
he's
is so cool.
about when he says that, one of the first eyeballs goes, and the little droplet of amber from that eyeball, since
not,
the head.
not on your headphones, but the.
Say again.
No, we're good.
Okay. Right as Torwin is saying, are you guys seeing what they're doing? And one of the eyes gets like cracks at that point, and the little drip of amber, rather than dripping or running, kind of flings out because the head is jerking still, and it flings itself out onto the floor, and it sits there for a second, and it actually starts sort of like mercury moving along the floor. Like, you know what it looks like? It looks like raindrops on a windshield when you're driving into really fast wind.
Yeah.
And it's pushing
I was
along.
going to say, like, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you were going to say.
I was going to say, it looks like a T-1000 slowly pulling itself back together after an explosion.
Okay. Sure, but I like mine better. But you envision it however you want to. And it's sliding. It's like creeping along the floor, back towards back towards the base of the clock.
That's really cool.
Isn't it?
I think so.
I'm gonna go poke it.
No. He's in the hole, right? He's safely in the hole.
Get in the hole.
Don't touch it.
I'm gonna poke it. Get in the hole, Torwin. Get in the hole.
Torwin, go down the hole.
Ash, do you have a way of providing light other than like a torch or a lantern or?
Yes, my staff.
Oh, your staff. Okay, so as you're moving along there, you can sort of like have some light there as you're going.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Are you and you're descending, saying nope, nope.
It requires a little bit more effort than that, but yes.
Yes, you don't actually have to roll for this. The trickiest thing would be if you had like some sort of fire, because the lantern swinging around would be very difficult with these handholds.
I'm not using the handholds.
But with the strap sort of strapped to you, you're okay.
I was about to say I don't need the handholds.
Yeah. Say that again.
I don't need the handholds.
What are you doing?
So I'm gonna spark up my my slow fall pin.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. So you're just
so sparking it up, are you?
a lot of crystal based magic in here. So all right. So you do that and just sort of hop and float down at a fast elevator. I'm gonna say it like a fast elevator pace. Okay, I'll get to you in just a second. After that first one cracks, the other eyes go in rapid succession.
I'm suggesting we like leave now, folks. Down, safe, maybe.
It's only about another 10 to I want to say 10 to 15 seconds before the eyes are completely gone. Some of them going down the clock, some of them like flinging out and crawling towards each other. The biggest drop from that first marble, reaching the floor about the time that the smaller ones sort of get there and pooling, and just sort of like almost like almost swirling in the way that they would at a drain, but without actually going anywhere. They're just sort of like surging back and forth. Yeah, actually, like one of those little alleged, perpetual motion wave things that you put on people's desks and that kind of thing, sort of surging around, that kind of thing. I gotta look. I'm gonna poke it with a short stick. And then it kind of like almost compresses, like it's pulling in on itself. For a moment, just before it does that, just as it's pulling in, the shape of the fluid almost looks like a face. And where are we at here? And then the whole little pod of stuff like leaps straight at Dave, or yeah, at
Edward.
At Edward.
Ha!
Is that a tally ho kind of ha, or like a?
Ah!
It doesn't so much leap straight at you as it does at your pouch, and it
Yeah.
Would that be the pouch where the marbles in?
That would be the pouch where the marbles. It's not the one where the powder's in, although that would be equally hilarious. And let me see if that one's that one. All right. And as it impacts with that pouch, you hear the crack of the glass from inside. Like it hits so hard that the pouch is sort of jerked halfway off your belt. The strap, one of the straps kind of tears. You hear the crack inside, and this stuff, through the tear in the fabric and everything like that, sort of like coalesces into like one liquid amber like substance.
I would like to cut the pouch off of me to the extent that it's still connected.
Sort of clinging to the edge of it. You're this wonderful situation where you have a piece of clothing tied to your body on which now perches a brown recluse. Like it's that kind of sort of scenario. Dave, why don't you roll a roll plus con while you are. So you pull out your dagger and you're like sawing at this thing, and Dave rolls an 8 on his con. How fascinating. Okay. Okay, so this stuff, like, you kind of reach on, you grab the belt and pull it out away from your side a little bit, and you're sawing at it. And as you're doing this, the stuff like kind of leaps onto the back of your hand. Really, 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 really cold, like the back of your dagger hand, and you just you like and you feel something, you hear like this kind of a whisper scream, like if somebody's trying to tell you something really, really important while they're in a movie theater, like in your head, like destroy, and you fling your hand so hard away from you to get this stuff off of you that you lose your grip on the dagger, and it flies across the room too. It's a lovely throw, sticks right into the wall, and the stuff is like, it makes about halfway and sort of falls on the floor. Tiana, what do you do? I'm hoping she heard all that.
Heard you?
Oh, I'm still on mute.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
There you go. So Tiana, what do you do?
What do I do? Run away? Is that an option?
Sure.
Really? Boy.
It was the
Yes,
absolute-
tales will be told.
No.
Why do you- Your own fault.
It's who's on?
It's his fault. Edward's. For being a greedy.
Who's greedy?
You.
Greedy-ish.
What's in his pockets is?
I wasn't stealing it for money.
No, he was stealing it for dangerous curiosity. He's not a thief. He's a took.
Edward the Took. Yes, he is.
Fool of a took.
We took that.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was the thing. All right.
Okay. So my turn to save Edward?
If you're so inclined, you feel Edward. You felt that, and you actually feel like post adrenaline shaky, and it's lingering. Like you kind of half nausea, half like adrenaline shakes, half like. I guess I'm out of halves, but sort of hand shaky, voice shaky.
Even creepier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or so anybody, Tiana, Torwin, Basler.
Okay,
I'll be staggering back while they're doing
Okay.
something.
okay, so now where's the pouch relative to this right now?
Okay, so I will. The pouch is still on. He never got done cutting it because the thing jumped off the pouch onto his hand, and then the stuff, and he flung his hand away. And the knife sort of stuck in the wall, like above the evil book on the wall here, like it's stuck into the wall. And the stuff sort of landed on the floor right about here. And it is, Ash is already, I'm going to get rid of that. Ash is already down below. So there's Torwin, Basler, and Tiana still up here. Ash, as you're about half, you think, well, you're maybe 20, 30 feet down, and you hear from up above, you hear Edward go, yeah!
Get it off!
Get it off! And so that's going pretty much exactly how you imagined it might.
I told them they needed to leave, but no.
No, they didn't have, they sure, they're just great.
I'm going to be the only one who lives through this, aren't I?
Basler, what you doing?
I'm cowering elaborately. So on the one
As you
hand,
should.
on the one hand, Ash is going down into danger, and that's bad. On the other hand, clearly danger is up here, and that's bad too.
So yeah,
So
and also,
I'm kind of just paralyzed in seeing what happens.
Yeah, and from where you are, evil or bad, bad is also like between you and the door. So it's a bad situation for you because when bad things are not only present but between you and the door, that's not good.
I'm kind of looking for an opening.
And evil is not easily stabbable in this particular case, so you can't imagine it'd be much use.
Depends on the evil, but yeah, I mean, here it's pretty rough.
Torwin, poke it with a short stick. You know you want to.
I'm gonna move towards it.
You're in the. I thought you were in the hole.
No. Only Ash went down the hole.
Really? I thought you guys shoved Torwin down the hole. Were you not listening to me, Basler?
Ash, roll on your dodge to see if Torwin lands on you.
Oh, he'd land on him.
No.
So you're
seriously,
Torwin, you're approaching this. What are you doing? Like you just
I am not letting Torwin go into this. He'll do something really. No. Trust me, you are not doing this.
Okay.
No, so, I got this.
The stuff was starting to sort of creep towards Torwin. Then Tiana came.
Torwin, it only affects men. It'll take your manhood.
Okay.
Gullible, are we?
Hey.
So
no.
I'm just gonna make sure that I put an XP on Tiana's thing.
Edward, I'm so sorry.
No.
Actually, that should be a double play for me because I'm being heroic. Damn it. Okay, so.
Yeah, but that.
No, but I got.
No, that only works. That's not how you get XP.
If
That's
someone
not,
makes me do that.
if Torwin lets you pull him back. So Tiana moves up on Torwin, and the thing kind of draws back either from the extra motion or anything like that, and like almost apparates across the room at Basler. So Basler, I would like you to make a con save, or con roll.
Does he get Dex first?
No, well, no, I don't think so. It's not the kind of thing that's really an actual physical thing. You rolled an 8 on con. All right, so
I'm normally better with a con than this. Sorry.
oh God, that's terrible.
It happens to all guys eventually.
So you, Basil, you fight it off.
Swear to God, you were all going down the hole.
Basil,
I am in the hole.
You also hear like sort of a destroy kind of whispering scream as this thing comes in contact with you. You get up a hand and it like hits on the palm of your hand.
Nope.
What do you do with it?
I peel off my glove.
Because you can feel it like it's soaking right through this, and you just rip the glove right off and fling it across the room, and it's just like your whole arm has gone like shock numb, like a really bad funny bone strike. But all the way.
Is it my good pickpocketing arm?
Would that be the one that you like naturally flinched up in front of you? Probably not. It'd be your other hand. So you rip that, and it's just gone like shock, like just nerve tingling numb all the way up to the shoulder. And that scream is just reverberating in your head. The glove is now flopping around on the floor as this thing tries to get out from under it, because you kind of turned it inside out as you're ripping it off.
So.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
No.
I'll put a knife through that glove and pin it to the floor.
Okay. First off, Edward, is there any left in your pocket?
No, it was in. I had it in the little bag there that's now
torn up.
On the
It's
floor,
clearly nothing left in the. Well, yeah, you didn't
Okay,
get the pouch.
the bag is gone.
The
bag is not on him.
The pouch was where the mirror was where the marble was at. The marble, there's maybe some shards of glass, but all the fluid is definitely not there.
Okay.
The goo is in the thing.
Right. All right. Fine. Is it evil?
Is it evil? That is a fascinating question. You have that thing, don't you?
Is it a worthy opponent?
What here is evil? It is not evil. It is intensely fanatic, but it doesn't appear to be evil. And there's a lot around here that could come off that way, but not this stuff.
Do I get the impression that is it all sentient?
Yes.
Fine. I am the law.
Okay.
Go back to your clock.
Okay. I am going to have you.
Chance?
You have a chance at this. I am going to have you defy danger with charisma. So you roll and add your charisma on your character sheet, please. And we'll see where we come with this, because this is either going to go really well for you or.
Remind me how to roll this.
So
I've forgotten already.
If you go on your character sheet where it says cha and it says the 1, click on the little dice thing right next to the.
Got it.
Yep. Oh, a 10.
So what I was doing is I am the law. So theoretically, I only need a 7.
Right. On a 10, you take +4 for it against someone. Please. Yes. It's interesting. I like this because you're using it like, oh, this is an NPC. Technically true.
Extension. I am God.
And
I say, damn it.
You all in this room hear a voice that says, "Sister, destroy them!" And then it like that them kind of fades and reverberates at the same time and sort of hisses away.
Do we get any sort of direction?
No, it just like evaporates. The sound goes in all directions and fades away. But yeah, it says, it sort of, scream whispers, "Sister, destroy them." And then your orders, as they must be in this particular case, are obeyed. And the thing, it doesn't go back to the clock. It vanishes. Something. It goes
back
away.
to whence thee came. Be gone, vile being. Back to the depths from whence thee came.
Yeah, except not so much vile.
Not so much vile, but hey,
Yeah, you hesitate to call it a kindred spirit, but it doesn't seem wrong. Something certainly felt like a sense that creatures lies. All right, you got no sense of lie off the creature, that's for sure. All right. And we're going to pause here for just a second. So, Dave, you are shaken. Basil, you are shaken. You're going to have a -1 on whatever roll comes next, and then that will go away. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to go back over to Mike for a second because he is descending, and he is getting quite close. Looking down, Ash, you can sort of see the floor approaching. It appears to be moving.
Snakes.
It's opening out into like a hall, like you're coming in through the roof of kind of a passageway, and it's sort of writhing and moving in your light as you're descending this sort of weird, unseemly, really creepy thing. From when it's about 20 feet away, and as you're descending, do you do anything?
So I still get like 20 feet?
You have about 20 feet, yes.
I'm dropping a flask.
Okay, what's the flask do?
Fireball flask.
Oh God. Okay, so as you're like, as the thing is dissipating, this is awesome. As you guys and you're just kind of looking at each other like a scene from Evil Dead in this cabin, like looking at each other like, what the hell just happened? You see like this yellowish, orangish light flare up from out of the trapdoor, and you then like a second later you hear the woof, sound that you hadn't heard since the owl bears. So you kind of recognize it. So obviously things are going on down there. Torun, what do you do? Apparently,
wait, stuff is happening?
Yes, Ash is fighting something.
I'm gonna race down there.
Because nothing bad ever happened from racing down like thin,
A ladder.
Hey, it's better than losing his manhood,
it's
right?
not even a ladder. It's just thinly carved handholds in the wall. But by all means, race.
Yeah, because cool stuff is going on down there. Otherwise, he would be using his fire potion thing.
So Torwin enunciates quite clearly, "Oh God, we're missing it," and rushes for the trapdoor and down, which is where you wanted him to be in the first place.
Eventually it works.
We'll have to remember that next time.
Fireball in the distance will sort of summon Torwin.
Yeah. Shiny things.
Threats of manhood.
I'm a puppy.
So the fireball warms your feet rather. You played that one really close, Ash.
Precipitously?
Yeah, it's quite toasty. You even pull your legs up a little bit. You continue to float down. The writhing continues once you can see again. But by that point in time, you're practically on the ground. And it's not from a living thing. It's this weird. So every surface the passageway is about 10 feet across and about 15 feet high. And literally every surface of this thing, including the floor, is covered in carvings of small carvings, like about 2 to 3 inches high, of these twisted faces like twisted in torment. And the faces themselves are not moving, but they're covered in, here we go. They're covered in like a thin coating of that, well, either like glass hard ice or ice cold glass sort of stuff that coats a lot of stuff that you've run into already. And that coating and that sort of shimmering gleam of that coating over the stuff gives them the sense of motion and writhingness and that sort of thing. Do you guys get the picture?
So it's an optical illusion.
Yes, it's a bit of an optical illusion. These are actually, if you click on that picture and make it like big on your screen, that's essentially to scale. Because they're not very big, but they're just everywhere. Like the entire place is, you don't want to say tiled, but basically covered in these things.
So.
And you're standing on them. I mean, there's no place to stand where you're not actually walking on these faces. And they're on the walls and the ceiling.
Just at a quick glance, one, did my flask happen to damage any of that ice cold glass or glassy ice?
Yeah. Well, damage not exactly, but it's definitely like some of it's melted. It's not completely melted, but if you kind of put your foot right at the high impact point of it, you can sort of the heel of your foot can sort of crack through the last thin coating of the ice down to the stone underneath.
Not what you want to do.
Well, kind of already done. They don't. Yeah. So from what you can see there, I mean, you can examine the stone if you're so inclined.
Not particularly.
Look a little bit closer.
Is there anything in the room with me?
No, it's like the hallway itself from where you're at one end of a passageway, and it is about longer than your light. It stretches off to the distance. You're going to call that, sort of arbitrarily call that the north. Outside of the range of your light, it continues forward. It's like 10 foot wide passage covered in these faces, and like 15 feet high. It curve, the walls curve into the ceiling, but the ceiling doesn't come to a point. It just continues to curve. So it's basically like this sort of arched, sort of domed hallway that continues forward from where the entry's all the way at one end. The tunnel, the shaft, the column that leads down into this thing is at one, like the southern end. It doesn't seem to go any further south than where you were.
In that case, I'm going to get clear of the hole, because watch one of these guys. Watch one of these guys fall down it.
Don't kill everything. I'm almost there.
And then I'm just going to like get into like a crouched sitting position next to the wall.
Okay.
Pull a book out of my bag, and that I probably read like 1,000 times at this point. And just, wait till somebody else decides to come down.
This is, I will point out to you, new to you.
I know. And it's just like, well, let's see how long it takes these guys.
Okay, so Torwin's who's following Torwin?
Everyone.
Says
yeah,
Torwin.
I think so.
All right, so,
I'll be the last one down.
Which is
I'll come down.
Okay, yeah. So Edward, I'm going to say Edward next, and Basler, realizing that Tiana's just going to wait till he finally goes.
We could just leave.
When it's just the two of you left up in the room. Tiana, so that's Basler's. As Edward heads down, he kind of looks at it. It's like we could just leave.
Can't do that yet.
There's a door right there.
Where is my heart pulling me?
Oh, down. Absolutely down.
Yeah.
Her heart sank.
Well, you look after your heart. I got to protect my ass. Okay, I'm.
Nice.
Fine.
Okay, so Torwin, you're down here, and there's these crazy, like carvings all over the walls, like in various states of torment. Sort of the sound of some dripping ice from the fireball, dripping off the ceiling a little bit. What do you do?
I go racing up to the faces and Ash, do you see that? These things are really cool. Tiana, Edward, guys, you gotta get down here.
Yeah, they're interesting.
Are you? I mean, what are you? Other than just gesticulating wildly, are you doing anything in particular?
I think I will take a closer look at the faces.
Okay.
Kind of.
I mean, despite their size, they're remarkably lifelike. Screaming, grimacing in pain. You can easily imagine. I like that. Everyone's flags. You can easily imagine specifically what kind of unpleasant, pain or emotion they're going through. In each one. Some of them sorrow. Some of them it's like, oh, that one's totally being stabbed right at that moment, as in the expression where the face was being captured, and all this.
Okay. Then I also take a look around to see kind of how the chamber, if there are obvious doorways.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you. Assume that you've got. I mean, you've probably got at least some of the light. You would need to light something to go much further down the hallway, because Ash's light only goes about 20 or 30 feet down the hallway, and it continues a little bit further. So you want to light up. You're a big strapping guy. They might have given you the lantern. You want to light that lantern up and at least get an idea of what's up ahead. You can be fiddling with that while people are climbing down.
Yeah.
All right.
So which direction is this tunnel heading?
North from where you guys come in. You guys are sort of the south end of the space.
Okay, so I was expecting it to go west. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, straight down and then north from where you were. Edward,
so is it going in the same direction as the great thing we found last time that had the music that Edward harmonized with?
In that general direction, yes. In the general direction. North would be out of, if you were up on the surface and heading north, you'd be walking back toward the graveyard.
Okay.
So yes. Edward, you're down next. Is there anything in particular that you would like to do after you've taken the measure of this space?
Besides shuddering?
One assumes that.
Yeah, actually. I would. Yeah, I'm thinking I've heard of something like this before. These faces.
Okay.
These creepy faces. Something in the chorus of creepified visages. So I would like to ask, as a question, do they, from what I recall from this song, do they still possess any sort of life? Are they just frozen visages, or do I recall them actually doing something at some point in this horrifying tale?
Okay. Give me. Oh, you're rolling. There we go.
So on 9, I get an answer, but not necessarily immediately useful or relevant.
Right. It's technically an 8, but still same.
Oh, right.
Yeah, same basic range,
Yeah.
which is fine. What you recall is something like they may contain some vestige, some memory of who they once were, or who they represent, or some tie in that way. They can communicate that information to the living if the living reach out to them.
Cool. Well, I'm going to maybe not do that at the moment.
Okay.
Does Edward share this information with the rest of the people?
Will once everybody's down.
Okay. Tiana.
By the way, guys, did you know? Yeah.
I've heard stories of blah 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 blah, and yeah. Basler's down next, still looking a bit shaken and pale, under Ash's somewhat actinic light, and.
But I'm pretty sure that's Basler's common state.
Yeah, well, Basler's from a region where pale's a little bit atypical, pale underneath the tan, so to speak. And Ash is just sort of continuing to pretend he's not actually making eye contact with anybody, and just he's not sitting like sort of crouched, hunched over next to the wall in one of the creepiest hallways of all time, while flipping casually through a book, a very well flipped book. Basler, anything in particular that you're doing here besides reaffirming that this is a terrible idea?
I'm going to keep an eye out for more traps, more hidden stuff, or opportunities. I feel that whoever built this place probably has a lot to hide, and I'm getting this sort of like cultish overtone as well. If there's layers of initiation and mystery, maybe there's layers of architecture too.
Ah, okay. All right, so you can do a little bit of examination there. You don't see anything particularly here, but this place is. Your first thought is like the mouths could be dart, like sort of dart traps or things like that, but everything's frozen over, which makes it. You hesitate to use the word safe, but it may be an early warning system. It may just be incredibly off-putting, which works on a certain type of thief, and certainly you would qualify for that in any other situation. So you're saying you're exploring, are you heading down sort of the direction that Torwin's headed, like further down the hallway to check? Because he's likely to run into some sort of barrier or door before anybody else, and thus do something terrible.
I'll let Torwin be back canary.
Okay. See, you kind of looked that direction, but stay back behind him. Okay, that's good. And Tiana, finally, you are the one down. This architecture, the carving and stuff like that does not. It brings to mind some myths of your people, of the faith, but not directly tied to the goddess. There have been mentions of the plains of torment and the houses of pain and that sort of thing, where the souls,
eternal sufferers,
are sort of forever ensconced within the walls of the house of pain, things like that.
Are the features more European, or are they closer to my people?
It is a mix. Nearer the, like right where you came down, it's actually more.
It's an equal opportunity, Hal.
Yeah. Nearer the entrance where you guys come down, it's more from your land. But the further down the hallway you go, you do see what you would think of as more of the natives of the northern climes where this place is actually located. Ash, everyone is down. Go ahead, keep going, Tiana.
No, I'm just wondering if I'll see anybody familiar down here.
So,
you find yourself sort of. Actually, you know what? Let me think about that. No, because.
But somebody else might.
You actually. Yeah, Torwin. So you get the lamp lit, and you're headed down a little bit further.
So wait.
Looking at, yeah, go ahead. Or no?
Well, now that everyone is down, Edward shares the information.
He'd have to call it out a little bit, or if you weren't necessarily waiting there with him, he'd have to call it out a little bit, but he certainly could.
Well, I thought I was fiddling with the lantern.
Oh, well, it wouldn't have taken, you would have gotten it, kind of put together. Probably lit about the same time he says this. And as you light the lamp and that adds more light to the area and you look up at the wall, you actually see a face. And if you look at it from a certain angle, that could absolutely be one of the heroes that you've studied. It looks almost exactly like some of the engravings of one of the great heroes that was supposed to have fought in one of these, in the battle here on the mountain. It's hard to tell because he appears to be literally in the midst of being disemboweled based on his facial expression, but it really looks like one of the great heroes. Edward, what were you going to tell everybody?
So I've heard of something like this, and these objects or sculptures still carry with them certain impressions from the people that they were taken from, and could even potentially communicate that if you reach out to them. Torwin, stop! Stop!
Hey, Mr. Dead.
God, I sound like Tiana.
Are you
I like how it's all one breath.
Sir Alan of the Fall?
What? Okay, so Torwin, say what are you doing?
I go over and call to the face.
There, you go over there and say, "Are you? What did you call him? Something of Paul?"
Sir Alan.
Sir Alan. He doesn't. He doesn't seem to. The face does not respond. There's no reaction from this carved, ice coated little.
Hello, Mr. Date Guy.
Well, if anyone would persuade him, I'm sure it would be the golden voice of Edward. I mean, you were, before the.
But I'm sure these aren't. I'm sure these aren't the same thing. I'm sure these aren't the same thing, Torwin.
No, but
probably something completely different. I'm probably remembering completely wrong.
Although,
are you sure,
Edward? I want to point out that manipulate my ego to persuade me to do something I don't want to do, and your golden voice and your golden whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh.
That's why we were doing it.
Yeah, I probably would have ordered him not to, but yeah, I will tell Torwin a lie that he will hopefully believe that. Gosh darn it! I was thinking of a thing with animal faces. It was a completely different thing.
Okay.
You believe me, don't you, Torwin?
But.
No, it was like pets, people's pets that they remembered having as a child, and they would wag their tails or something like that. It was very touching. I'll tell you about it tonight over our roaring campfire.
Somewhere far, far away from.
I promise.
So you're not going to try it?
I'm not going to try what?
Awakening them. I'm appealing to your vanity.
While you're lying.
You were telling me to try to awaken the things?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to lie to.
You can do both things.
No.
It totally works to do both things.
To Torwin.
It could be both things.
Which I was happy to
do.
It's really crazy how much he looks like the hero.
That's something I don't want to do.
It's definitely something you don't want to do. It occurs to you, Edward, that these kinds of things, the way that they're worded, can often be taken quite literally. It may literally mean reach out to them.
Hey, Torwin, do you see any other faces that look familiar? While Torwin's doing that, I will look at a face on the opposite wall, and yeah, sure, what the heck? If I do have this golden voice, as Tiana says, maybe I should just go ahead and make it. Oh, screaming, pain-racked woman. Is there anything you want to tell me? And I'll me poke her in the forehead.
caress the distended, howling cheek.
Man, for some reason, I'm just imagining Edward doing that, and it's like one of those screamer videos where.
Oh God.
Is there anything you want to warn us about?
Every single face in the hallway starts screaming in a. Well, it's hard to tell initially because they start screaming, but they're all out of sync because they start screaming from Edward's point of like contact, and it outwards they all are off sync from each other. Over the course, and it's, oh my God, in this space, it's so loud and cacophonous and echoing and horrifying. It's, once you can sort of make any kind of sense out of it all, you realize it's in some sort of foreign, ancient language. And this is the worst part. As they're just, it's the same thing over the and eventually the voices all fall into sync with one another until they're all basically shouting the same thing, screaming the same thing in unison over and over and over again. Tiana, you're the only one that really has that really has any idea, because it's sort of an ancient forerunner of some languages, some of the stuff that your people have picked up. They say a word that you're pretty sure, it's sort of like, I know what that would be in Latin kind of a thing, but they say a word that you're almost positive means nothing, like literally the word nothing, and in whatever phrase that they're saying, they say it twice. And they do, and this goes on for probably, well, it seems interminable, but after a couple of minutes, they all stop just at once.
Well, that was
Corwin, what did you do?
Useful.
Well, I will point out that Dave's
the faces.
I will point out that what Dave rolled was something that is information, but not necessarily useful information.
I would have thought
not immediately useful.
I would have thought the worst thing for the bard was that they were out of sync and out of key. I mean, that
was
chorus.
Horrible.
That was horrible. In time, people.
He's itching to grab a little baton and start directing the thing. Torwin, you as you got the lantern and you're kind of moving along there and sort of found yourself sort of backing away from this as you go and looking at the hallway and all the movement and stuff like that. Sort of find yourself down at the end, sort of the end of the passageway there, where this massive, it's normal sized door, but it's carved in like a sort of a gargoyle style of face. The whole door is, with some horns that curl up and some horns that curl down, one of them sort of forming sort of a handle, the mouth open with a key, like a large keyhole set right in the middle of the fanged open mouth that's set, that the door is. There is a key in the lock, a big bronze key inserted in the lock.
I'm gonna turn the door. I'm gonna turn the key and open the door.
Of course.
Go, guys, look at this door, and then open it.
And then you guys check it out. I found the locked door, and you hear that Basler, you hear that very distinct sound of someone turning a key and shooting a bolt on a door. I found it, and from 60 feet away, you hear chakunk of this door opening. Oh God, I love Torwin. I want him in every single group that I ever do. So
he does a really good job of
the opposite of planning.
No, I was thinking of Justin when he first started playing.
Oh my God. Yes.
Hey Joyce,
yes.
I'm gonna go loot the corpse.
You're gonna D&T game I ran about, this would have been like 11 years ago, just about 3.5 was out, and my nephew played with us. He was about 9 or 10 years old, and he was playing with a bunch of veteran gamers, and he was playing the thief. And he was constantly set ahead to scout, and he did. Thank God he had a high deck save because he didn't have the survival instincts of a lemming. He frickin' poked everything. It was glorious. It was really rushing in to save the thief just sort of became either him or the monk. All right,
Yeah.
so the monk was
Well, when you run around with no clothes on.
level 1, 3.5. One of the guys who was really into martial arts, like super into martial arts, made himself a monk, and he had really run the numbers. And he really knew how good he was going to be at certain kinds of things. And in the first module we ran, like the second or third room, there was like a juvenile white dragon, like a little one, like the size of like a Doberman plus the tail. And he can, I don't know, to this, yeah, there you go, Sunless Citadel. And to this day, I don't know how the player managed to do it, but the player managed to convince everybody else in the party that he had this. And made them all stay outside while he went in alone.
I got this, guys.
That's literally what he said. Don't worry, guys. I got this.
Oh, you hear that, guys? He's got this. Let him go.
And about 2 seconds later, the cleric was like watching, going, yeah, he's gonna die, guys. And they all, but yeah, it was not pretty. Yeah, Sunless Citadel, white baby dragon. Just about killed them all.
It's so cute.
It's beautiful. Anyway, all right. So you hear Torwin shoot the lock, shoot the bolt on a door down up ahead, and what do you all do? Ash?
The creaky noises of the door opening.
I think that's when Ash kind of is like
closes the book with a clap.
It's just like I look over. I know it was Torwin. I see where everybody else is.
Okay, realizing this is going to be somewhat distracting, I will point out that both Edward and Tiana can pick an advance. So you might want to do that because of different little things that you guys have done. You have enough points to do anything.
Woohoo!
So you can take a look at the... You guys have the
I had been
PDF?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can share that with figure out what you're gonna do, and scribble that proceed as we'll just have that kind of going on in the background, and I'm going to just quickly zero you guys out and change the thing because you're now level 2. I can't remember what happens.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You now need 9 points, and you have 0 XP, and I'll do the same thing.
So, the amount of experience that you need is always
7
your
plus
level plus 7.
Yeah.
You increase. So when you advance, you increase your level by 1. You choose one stat and increase it by 1. And you pick a new move.
And you take a new move or whatever that is. What happens? And if you change your constitution, that changes your hit points. Otherwise, your hit points don't change.
Correct. Which is why my hit points is now 17. A staggering 17.
A staggering 17, as opposed to Tiana's manly
25.
Manly 25 plus a lot of armor.
I'm a wizard class. What can I say?
Yeah, fair enough. And you can always add. There's an add button there next to the move, so you can put stuff in there, all that kind of good stuff. So I'll let you guys fiddle with that in the background, and I will to Torwin. As you, Basler, are you? Well, you probably follow Ash up. Ash, are you heading that way?
I think I have to.
I will.
I'm just going to be like, Torwin always rushing ahead.
So, Ash, as you get up there, the door is open to Torwin's standing in the sort of the entryway into the next room. The door was apparently locked, and the key was in the keyhole. The key is still in the keyhole. It occurs to you, if not Torwin, that most people
don't leave keys.
Well, whoever locked it was on the outside and leaving.
Uh-huh.
So this wasn't locked to keep people out.
Yeah.
Nope.
The more concerning thing is that they left the key.
So the door is in the.
They might have just been in a big hurry.
Is there any? Does the key itself give any clues here?
No, it's a big, the I can't remember the parts of an old ornate key, but like the grip is just kind of a big bronze filigree. It's not particularly noteworthy. It's just a couple of big, large loops. It's heavy. It's a good size. I mean, it's a good length of your, longer than the length of your palm. Like if you lay it on your palm, it's long enough to go like up your forearm a bit. So I'm going to call it probably a solid 7 or 8 inches long.
All right.
So the barrel of it is quite thick.
Yeah, when I pull out the key, I'm going to look it over really quick. I'm going to just, since Basler was also going this way, and just kind of like look back to him and be like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to get locked in here.
Are you worried about that with me around?
Can you pick the lock from inside?
Let's find out.
Yeah, so you can go around and look on the other side of the door. Meanwhile, inside the room, Torwin, you're on the south wall of the room. The room's about 30 feet left to right and about 20 feet front to back. There's a door, double doors on the east wall. You're on the south wall. On the east wall, there's double doors. On the north, all along the north wall and along the west wall, there are little tables, kind of like nightstands. 6, 10 of them. And on each one, there's a skeletal left hand laying on top of it. They have like they each have a couple of rooms sort of carved into them. And that is it on that. As far as that part, the door itself is engraved with a large sigil that you don't really recognize, but looking at it kind of makes you feel weirdly nauseous. And you notice that probably I would say, Ash, that's probably the first thing you notice. I'm going to say Torwin notices the cool dead hands on the tables first. That sort of thing, and then notices the nausea. You notice it as soon as you come in the room that this has got some sort of like weird sigil across the doors.
Well, I guess we need to take a look at that.
The opposite side of the door, Basler, is just a big metal bronze plate where the lock and keyhole mechanism would be. I mean, in theory, if you had some tools like some chisels and a hammer or something like that, you could get that plate off and get at the lock mechanism and get the door open from the inside. But there is no lock to pick on this side. You might be able to, beat your way through it, but there isn't really a lock on this side. On the inside, I should say.
Can I conjecture what sort of things that they would have been trying to keep in here with this kind of mechanism?
There's a lot of runes and sigils on this side, so they might have thought it was your first thought is like the kind of things that they put on a tomb to keep things at rest. Not so much at rest as confined. Superstitious stuff, nonsense. It doesn't actually really do anything. You're sure. Except when it does. It's meant to. I mean, honestly, the first thing you think of, it's a vault door. The key's on the outside, and there's nothing on the inside to get out because you put stuff in here that you don't want to get out, and you lock it from the outside so it stays inside. It's a vault door.
Okay. Looking for scratches, dents, indentations, or anything else that would indicate someone trying to violently test that defense.
That is an excellent, and I almost wish I could say yes, but in fact, there's no real indication of violence against this, against the door or anything like that. So no.
Okay.
But I love that that's the first thing that Basil looked for. It's like, oh, it looks like it was meant to keep things in. Did anything try to get out? Let's just look. Tiana and Edward. They're in the back down the hallway looking over this one book together, like poring over it and whispering and saying, I don't know.
So I just have to say, Joyce, that my min-max is warring with my storytelling.
On in terms of like a move to take, or
no, in terms of a stat to increase.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So I want to increase charisma, but it doesn't actually change my roll at all. So
I understand that. I am.
And I'm going to do it. So there.
There you go. Do it.
Feeling godly right now. So
there you go. Raise that force of will. I'm sure it will, karmically speaking, improve your rolls. Positive. And you can figure out what you still also get a move. It isn't like the Star Wars thing where you get to pick one or the other. So you get that. Basil, you can also look at the door again. The door again gives you that kind of weird nausea, unease kind of thing. No signs of violence.
Basil or other people?
Basil was in the room and kind of looking at the portals and the doors and that sort of thing. So I figured, Torwin, what are you doing with this stuff in the room, or Ash, or anybody else?
Not touching anything, right?
Yeah. Well, after Edward touched something with a bare finger, I think probably most everybody else has sort of decided that that's something that can wait.
Ash is going to examine these runes.
The runes? Okay. Why don't you give me a... Ooh.
I could spout some lore here, or I could do a let me see that.
I think spout lore. You might have a shot at this.
Okay. I will spout some more. I think I can spout some more.
Ooh, look at that. All right, let's look at spout lore real quick. Basic moves. Spout lore.
Information, and it's immediately useful.
When you consult your accumulated knowledge, roll tells you something interesting and useful about the subject relevant. Cool. Didn't that? I thought that was a thing that gave you a +1. Oh, that's discern realities. It gives you a +1 forward when acting on the answers. This is apparently well known enough or universal enough that you're able to recognize it. This is a dead rune. It's a rune of the dead. It is more colloquially known as the dead sign. Why would you have known this? Why would you have encountered this in the past?
He was there for the 60s.
Yeah.
What?
Grateful Dead. But no. Ash had Ash had an ex that was a necromancer. He probably learned some of these things from her.
I mean, no, don't. I'm going to have to tell a joke based on that, and you don't want that to happen.
Go ahead, Joe. It can't be any worse than what I've already thought of.
Was she able to raise you?
Oh, God. That's
warned you.
That's really quite something. I thought I had a picture of the dead sign, or I thought I'd found something that I thought would pass for the dead sign. I'm not sure if I see it anymore. Picture an appropriately creepy rune, I guess. I'm not seeing. Can't locate what I'm looking for. Oh wait, there it is. All right. Oh, this is gonna be a pain. Hang on. Gotta get. This is gonna take me just a minute. so I can show it. Okay, so I'll describe it to you because it'd be easier for me to describe it to you. It's a circle with sort of three. It's very rough, almost as though it was like originally stylized, like as in like sort of painted in blood, with like your finger. So there's a circle, and then there's sort of three slashes down through it, not completely bisecting it, but sort of through the bottom ring of it and sort of trailing down from it. So almost like this won't be something that your characters would think of, but I'm describing it to you. Almost like a really stylized, really crude sketch of a
almost
dream, like a dream catcher almost, with the feathers hanging down, kind of a deal.
Okay.
Bloody dream catcher?
Well, like a bloody sketch of a dream catcher. Let me see if I can. Where is my? Oh, there. Is that it? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, I know how to. Say that. Do this. Go. As I can get to it. We'll see if you guys find that my description was even close to what I'm actually looking at here. Can I play Pictionary worth a damn? Go over here and share it. Let's see. I have no idea how big this is going to be on the screen. There we go.
That's cheerful.
Yeah. It's sort of like a molded bronze on the door in this particular case, but that is the symbol there for that big door. What do you do? What does anybody do?
So I'm going to guess. So this sigil is intended to keep dead in.
You find it rather repellent from your side of things too. So who knows? Your guess is as good as any, certainly. It's certainly been used in a number of death cults over the years, but it's also been used as a ward against good. It's not it's not like a nice neutral. Oh, we allow the dead to go peacefully to the rest. It's not that kind of symbol.
Okay.
It's the militant dead.
It's the angry, make you suffer when you go kind of dead sign. That kind of deal. So. But you were saying something. What were you thinking of?
Well, if Tiana is nearby, I'll kind of like wave her over and just sort of like explain. It's like pointing at the room, just be like, so based on what we saw in the other room, and based on this, I'm going to guess that no one here is particularly nice people, and 2, this might be part of what's keeping all of those souls trapped out there. It's merely a assumption here, but it's I'm not liking this right now.
Tiana, that's probably all useful information. Also, the answers that you're looking for lie within.
Great.
They never lie back at the end, do they?
You know, it's never easy to be
answers you're looking
faithful.
for lie.
They're never they're never sitting on a bulletin board outside of the dungeon.
Yeah.
No one said faith was easy.
Ash is thinking, but I'm not
That is
faithful.
kind of Tiana's mantra.
No. I'm
Mostly
pretty sure,
to herself.
I'm pretty sure most of the religions I know about say faith is pretty easy. It's just, Not involves going into these places.
It's all easy until you actually have to test it, right?
The exercise of faith.
I guess if you go for that.
What do you do to exercise your faith here,
um, I mean, is there any kind of cleansing that we can do to what we have here before moving on, or do we just?
Probably not. The hands don't seem to be anything. There's something, obviously. You don't know what those runes on there say, but they're here for some reason. You can't really think what that would be.
Are they evil?
No, there is evil. There is evil about, but those aren't.
They're not.
they're in some way, shape, or form. They're some sort of arcane tool. You can't really figure out what specifically, but.
Okay.
Evil is afoot, and those are hands.
Cutting.
Ba-dum.
Okay, so Dave took cutting jibe. I have to look at that one real quick because I wonder if that is. I've been.
I've written it up on the character sheet if you want to see what it does.
Oh, that's perfect. Very nice. It's actually, I've been playing a bard in a online like like fifth edition like D&D thing, and they start out with or rather one of the spells you can pick is called Vicious Mockery. It's like a 0-level cantrip. You can just cast as much as you want. And I've been absolutely. I told Catherine this. I've been ripping off every your mother joke that who is it? Kale does in any of the Palace Job books. Every your mother joke that I can, all delivered in a lovely Irish accent because the guy's like a skull. So, yeah, that's always go for the your mom jokes for that vicious mock.
Because they are endless.
Because it always works. It always works. It doesn't matter if you're saying them to a spirit, embedded into a sentient warhammer. It still works.
Your mom tells your mom jokes.
Because I made the roll, so it works. I think my most favorite part of that is that he knows how to do those insults in every single language, like including ancient dead tongues. Anyway, so cutting jibe, very nice. Tiana. Ash thinks it's a bad idea. Tiana knows she's got to go forward. What do you do? No, that isn't true. She doesn't know she has to go for it. She knows the answers lie beyond the door.
That's kind of a loaded statement. I mean, Ash thinks everything's a bad idea, so.
Well, I mean, if we don't go forward, then what's the point of being here?
No. It's inevitable.
Walking away and surviving? I don't know.
To poke at the skeleton hands?
He says, prodding at one of the skeleton hands, and then Basil slaps it. Without even looking, Basil just slaps the top of his head. Stop that. Stop it. Edward, what are you doing?
I'm studiously not poking the skeleton hands.
Or in fact,
or picking up any strange orbs.
Or stroking the sigil or all those other things that obviously I've learned my lesson about doing, hence taking a point of wisdom.
Well done, that, by the way, getting rid of that -1 on your wisdom roll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet I intentionally kept my -1 on intelligence just because.
Yeah. Well, you have good common sense. It doesn't necessarily mean your book learning has gotten better.
However, I'm looking at everything.
Okay.
I just haven't seen anything that calls to mind something we want to do. Somebody's already kind of interpreted the sigil.
There are runes,
yeah, I think we are going to have to move forward.
There are runes carved. I will say there are runes carved on each one of the same 2 runes carved on each one of the hands on each one of these little tables.
I suppose I can figure out if I recognize these runes. I seem to recall something about.
In this case, I'm going to actually ask you to spout lore. on this.
Because it's so much fun.
Well, the spout lore thing is a little bit different, and I don't know if this is a thing you would have necessarily heard a story about, but it is something you might theoretically have recognized. Maybe.
So I don't know what you mean by the spout lore versus my stories and legends.
It's a basic. I think, is it still based on Ent? No. Yeah, it is. I
It
guess
is
it's the
Ent.
same thing. What is the difference then? And versus the.
Oh, that's one of the standard moves.
Yeah, one of the standard moves versus stories and
Ah.
legends.
Let me look that up. When I consult my accumulated knowledge about something.
So, with spout lore, you roll and you see what the GM has to say about it and tell you. With stories and legends, you get to ask a question about it, and I will provide you an answer.
See.
So it's a slightly different thing. I can give you a random factoid versus like actually answering a question you want to know. Either one of those works for me, actually. I take that back. I can actually think of a reason why you might have heard the stories and legends. You're starting to zero in on the group that this is related to. So you could roll stories and legends. You might have heard something about it. You might have heard a story actually from Tiana's homeland.
Yeah, if I know that this is their group, I would think that I would know something about something like the language or the writing they used, or perhaps something about this splinter group that was up here.
Yeah. Why don't you give me an int roll and see if this is actually?
Yeah, why don't I do that?
Waiting for the number to paint in.
I think that's still enough to give me something that isn't immediately useful.
You sure that you actually read something about this at some point in time? It was something, and it wasn't necessarily having to do with a death cult. It was just something that that you heard, maybe a tavern tale, that the priests from down there, one of them weird, like the priests that do all the burying of the dead down in that part of the world, will like use pieces of dead people to do things to the bodies of other dead people, like
what, the dead torturing the dead?
Something. Maybe they use them to like they use like, oh, they'd like rip out the tongue of a dead guy and do some sort of magic to it, and the tongue, and then they'd stick that tongue in the body of some other guy, and they'd make him talk, and it would be the body. Whoever was in that body would be the one that was talking, so you could force him to answer questions and whatnot.
And these runes remind me of that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be sort of in that ballpark, or at least the body parts do. And
this is coming from the Book of the Dead, not the Book of Life, dear.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not helping. So like these hands may have been used to do something to other dead people.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yes. Possibly. You're not sure what. You're not even sure if it would still work. You certainly have no idea how.
I will go ahead and mention this to the group as a whole, kind of looking over at Tiana, since one would think a priestess or a paladin from that neck of the woods would know something about this tradition.
I mean, if it's true, and you're also at the same time as I'm trying to step around the bit of a minefield of saying, I heard this barbaric thing about what sounds a lot like necromancy about your religion that you clearly represent and have a big sword. So there's a little bit of that too. And honestly, Tiana, if it's true, it's like even for you, it'd be like an old wives' tale kind of thing. You don't know. It's certainly not something that happens like as part of the current church.
Right.
like the goddess or anything like that. You or at least if it does, it's like exorcisms being performed by the Catholic Church in the '60s. They might have done it, but they didn't like say, "Oh yeah, we totally do that."
Well, and given the age of everything here,
This goes
I
back.
mean, it could also be that this is part of the schism.
Sure. There's any number of cases. It don't seem to be any. I mean, the doors just yank open. They got big. It's not like there's anything special here connected between like, oh, you need to touch these hands in the same order. The doors will just open. But so it's not connected to, you know, high five these hands in a particular order to get the rest of the place to work.
Okay.
So what do you do? I predict that at some point in time when you guys like figure out what it is,
I'm
whatever you decide to do is going to be prefaced by the phrase, "Well, screw it."
I'm all for just like going forward and leaving this a mystery.
I'm wondering if what I'm thinking of is true, if these things might be some sort of weapon against potentially something else we might be running into. But I'm not going to be the person to grab one of these skeletal hands with runes engraved in them and stick them in my pocket, because that doesn't seem to end well.
No, taking magical artifacts and sticking them in your pocket in particular has not gone very well for you guys thus far. Or for Edward, at least.
While Torwin is holding a hand and like shaking it and stuff.
It doesn't do anything when I do this.
Oh, whoops! There goes a finger.
Okay,
yeah.
so I take a hand from Torwin, and just shuffle us along to the next room.
All right. Do you actually
do you keep the hand?
Do you actually point with the hand? Because that would be awesome.
Yes.
A little
that
bit,
way.
A little
that's
bit of,
my hand.
We're going that way. Stop it. And then she slaps your wrist with the actual dead hand.
Stop it. Tiana's holding Torwin's hand.
Oh, really? Are there feet here? Can I kick him in the butt?
Oh my god. All right, so
I'm gonna grab another hand.
So okay, you guys both have a hand now. Tiana, do you yank the door open? Probably not with the hand, but it's not really good for gripping.
Yes, I will open the door. Since I'm the one insistent on going this way.
Well, I mean, there's no other place to go except for back. Refrigerator, like a meat locker blast of cold air as you open the door. You thought it was cold before, and it's colder here than it was up in the house, and the house was plenty cold, and the house was colder than the graveyard. It is cold here.
Which also doesn't make any sense because the house is inside and the...
Right. And the noise, that weird music that you heard kind of up in the graveyard, like faintly, definitely clearer when the door opens up. Like a whole order, like an order of magnitude is pretty faint, but it's still like moved up several notches on the volume thing. No, it's not the what you call it? It's not the harpsichord music. It's the other stuff from out the whining, almost nails on the chalkboard kind of sound.
But I tried to harmonize to that too at one point.
Yeah,
let's not.
First thing that pops into your head when you look into this next room is chapel. Totally a chapel. The room is...
So we're going to the chapel, but we're not getting married.
The room is sort of like a... Well, here, let's do it this way. I will just do this. Wait for it.
You know, any other chapels like to death to us part. Around here, it's like, yeah, whenever.
Oh, this is perfect. I can actually put it almost like underneath the house, exactly where the shaft was at. Look. There you go. So, can you guys see that?
Yes. Where are we coming in? Okay, so we're...
So
I see. So we were in 2. Now we're going...
into 3.
Got it.
So, big chapel space.
Are those chairs?
No, they are...
Or little tables with skeleton bits?
No. The whole room, it's 3 foot by 3 foot by about chest height prayer plinths, like places to not so much kneel but to pray at. And they line the passage. There's no places to sit necessarily. They're just you stand at.
So they would be, and you would stand there and fold your hands and lay them on the rest,
or kneel your like rest your forehead on it. You're not sure. It depends on the faith, probably. And you can hear the sort of the rattling of chains further on into the darkness of the rest of the room. The ceiling's taller. It's probably about 30 feet high here. The light from Ash's staff and from the lantern like barely reaches the ceiling.
So there's way fewer plinths than there are graves.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes, many fewer.
Can we see the entire room from where we are?
No, you can see out to about not even that far, like right about here.
Okay. So we don't actually know the answer to Tiana's question, but
which is what? Oh yes, probably not. I mean, based on sounds, you think the room's not. It would have to be enormous to have as many plinths as there are graves up top.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
Is that a chandelier up top?
You'd have to get a little bit closer to see. So, I mean, there's not any immediate dangers that you can see. Basler is like looking through the light there and kind of moving his head up and down to kind of look at the door frame. He's like, there aren't any tripwires or anything. So, reasonably safe. I mean, if this is a chapel where there was a lot of traffic, it doesn't make much sense to have a pit trap in the middle of the room because it would, kill all the worshippers.
So
I wouldn't
unless that was part of the deal.
Unless that was the purpose, yeah.
Like that's how you go from initiate to like the higher ranks.
Stepping on it or not stepping on it?
It's like, well, there's the lay brethren that just sort of like go in one of two career paths. There's
the
sacrificer or sacrificee.
The lay and the laying.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Moving forward eventually reveals there's murals on the wall.
Keep on the left.
We'll give you more information.
Are they disturbing?
Well, what do you think? We'll get into those in a bit more. Murals.
Are runes on the plinths?
No, they're plain stone, and it's sort of a way of your people to. A lot of the stone carvings are frequently just unadorned. Not a lot of external carving on these sorts of things. Murals, altar up in the front. That's like sort of a big skull, and a big skull, like a good 12 feet tall, like that's carved into the back wall there. You can see, make it out of the shadow, that kind of thing. And that bit where Mike asked if that was a chandelier there in the middle, it's 12 chains hanging from the ceiling, with each one with a jawless, toothless skull made of ice, like sort of chunked down onto the hook and hanging in the center of the room from the hooks. And just because I have to.
Marvelous.
Dripping. All of it. Dripping. Let's not forget that part. I just don't know if I wanted to. So yeah, 12 chains with the ice skulls hanging down, and we have an image after again. No. Nice. What is that from?
It's an anime called Overlord.
Very nice. I gotta ask you again later about that video game that you mentioned that was like the whole Sky Pirates thing, because that sounded fascinating. Anyway, so yeah, hanging there in the middle, skulls, ice skulls hanging on chains. You've got the sort of skull thing here. There's a door here. There's a door over here. This is like a big, weird, really, from where you are over like this far and in the shadows and stuff, it just looks like ridiculously ornate, like pipe organ.
Of the dead?
A couple of like sort of basins right up here, like mounted to the wall, kind of with carvings around it right here.
Is there anything in them?
Well, you can. We'll go around here, and you guys can figure out. I can tell you more. Let me tell you about the skulls for. Well, I don't know if there is much more to tell you about the skulls. They're all dripping. They're all made of ice. They're not skulls inside ice. They're actually ice skulls. And that's all I have to tell you about that.
How high up is it?
The chains are about 20 feet long, so they're about 10 feet off the floor. I mean,
so if I like smack them with my hand, I couldn't get them.
You probably couldn't reach them with your hand. You could smack them with a sword if you were so inclined. He said.
Do not use the skulls like wooden chops.
Yeah, here. The murals depict one of the murals depicts a. Who was looking at the murals? Who asked me about those first?
Tiana.
I did.
Tiana.
I just commented that they were probably disturbing.
A man in a crown and a cape, depicted from behind, with many demons bowing before him, the bloated goat, the empress of all widows, the primordial demogorgon, the ring wolf, etc. A number of supernatural bad guys from your religion's like list of bad guys.
So yeah, what role do they play in my religion? I mean, are they sort of like, boogeyman, or are they things that the goddess fights against?
They are all. It depends on how old the stories are. If you're talking Old Testament stories, they're other gods. And I obviously I'm not using Old Testament, New Testament, but that kind of thing. If you go back to the ones that are in some cases considered apocryphal at this point in time, they are in some of those stories referred to as other gods besides the goddess. In later stories, more call it modernized stories or retellings of some or Bowdlerized versions, they are in some cases almost comical, like Punch and Judy kind of demons that are there to harass mankind into making mistakes that cast them from the goddess's sight. But in the old stories, they were proper gods, and over the course of time, might have given up on mankind for a bad bet as not worth it, or retreated into the darkness, or muttered something about there being other worlds than these, or still lurking around waiting for somebody to make a misstep and screw up. But definitely downplayed in the current faith. And there aren't any. You might get occasional cult spin-offs and stuff, and none of them are actually sort of depicted as being in this mural as being particularly important or mightier. So there's no indication here that this cult actually secretly worshipped one of these things. They're just sort of all here and all bowing down to whoever this person is with the cloak and the crown.
This sounds like propaganda, actually.
A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whoever we worship, whoever we are behind, and whoever we follow, these other, things will bow down to him. So we will be, because the way the mural is depicted is you're following this person who these other great demons are in turn bowing down to. So
kneel before Zod.
Yeah, and and Zod's our boss, so go us, kind of a thing.
So these are lesser evils.
Yeah, so there's another wall mural. This is one of the disturbing, unimaginable violations. One shows hundreds of women hanging from a single spreading tree. Other shows hundreds of men impaled on leaning pikes, with inscriptions.
Yay, equality, I mean, that's...
There's an inscription underneath of it. Yeah, yay, equality. I like that. There's an inscription underneath that's actually in several tongues. None of them the common tongue, but at least one that Edward can kind of back his way through, sort of by process of elimination. They all seem to... You would think by repetition they say, no, I hate to draw this parallel, but how Never Again is like repeated several times at Auschwitz. in the one engraving. It's like that with the repetition in different languages. And the one that you can kind of make out says basically
nothing.
No, this one doesn't seem to be that. What Edward kind of says is, name them all. Yet this is under one of the ones where the people. It's actually under both the women, the mural of the women being hung by the tree, and the men being impaled. They both say the same thing: name them, yet build them no monument.
The Book of the Dead. Naming them.
Name them, yet build them no monument. So yeah, it could be in some way, shape, or form that could be.
Or the lesser evils.
Well, it's the naming them thing. If these are sacrifices in great mass amounts, it could be a reference to that book up top. It could be what that book is about, naming them.
Or the book could be the cult interpretation of the command.
Sure, absolutely. Name them, yet build them no monument. What else? I didn't hear what Dave said.
That raises an interesting concern over old Zeke's creation of tombstones.
Yes. I mean, he is doing literally the opposite of that.
He's doing the Lord's work, that one.
Yeah, could be actually a good thing. If it's working counter to this thing's intent. Could absolutely be, not going to accomplish anything of serious import in this lifetime, but at least he's walking some of it back. If that's, I mean, you could certainly draw that parallel, and Edward clearly makes that leap. If the book is naming them and they want to build no monument, then what Zeke is doing is actually not completely pointless.
Maybe not undoing, but impacting that.
Yeah, counteracting it in some way, shape, or form. So,
guys, I'm gonna go let him know he's doing a good job. I'll see you later.
That's really
if you want to walk down the mountain all by yourself,
Edward does.
Go right ahead.
Edward does a really important point. I think Zeke needs to know that he needs to keep working on that. I'm going to go down and make sure that actually that picture that Dave was that you just shared that?
Yeah.
Not unlike that, but not
wood carvings.
Well, not wood carvings, and also not nearly as nice. But yeah, I mean, the basic gist of that, actually, yes, I would go along with the basic idea of that first mural that we were talking about. There's another one. A man stabbed with 9 swords being dropped into an hourglass. Very, very particularly drawn face, like very sort of clearly depicted face. And it's actually one of Tiana's people. And this one is particularly notable in that it is not, one would say, part of the original decorations. The wall around this mural was damaged. Shit was stripped off the walls and torn away, and this mural was painted in its place. And you would say, at a rough estimate, literally decades after the other ones were painted.
And those are all
it's done in a
linking back to the initial schism.
Yeah, the other ones probably were put in like when this place was originally put together. This one's much more recent. Edward might be able to take a stab at you know what? Basler could probably take a stab at getting an idea of how old. I mean, he deals with valuable stuff. He might be able to take a stab at how old the actual painting is.
Sure.
You take let me see, what would that be? Probably int. Well, whatever discern realities is.
That's wisdom, which I suck at, but okay.
Well, wisdom doesn't make sense in this case. Is spout lore intelligence? Yeah, spout lore.
Okay. Is this about criminal activities?
Yes. Well, it's I would say criminal criminal activities adjacent. So
As in fencing?
You're leveraging your criminal knowledge, certainly. So
So the +1 I would get doesn't matter, but I would have gotten a +1 on that roll. So, hooray, 6.
Mark XP.
Mark XP. Yeah, I mean it's newer. It's
so the you said the face is very particular.
Yeah, it's you don't get this. I mean, what do I mean by that? You don't get the sense that this is a like generic cherub face. It looks a lot more like, generic mural and then a very specific depiction of a specific person. Also,
and the activities going on are him getting.
He's being stabbed with many swords,
9 swords,
and while stabbed, dropped into an hourglass. And right about then, one of the skulls on the hook that's closest to the door, the ice crumbles just enough for the skull to fall away from the hook and fall to the ground and shatter.
Waking us all up.
As you're looking at this thing, and like all of a sudden, one of the skull kind of tumbles clear and shatters when it hits the ground.
Is it moving?
Nope. Well, it was ice, so it's in little pieces. It wasn't a real skull.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's not like suddenly trying to reform and then jump on somebody. So no.
Just
Well, it could be that having these melt is a positive sign because it's breaking some sort of dark necromantic spell, or it could be that these skulls are actually keeping something imprisoned here, and as they melt, it's breaking free.
Or it could be a sign that it's above freezing.
Yeah.
Great.
That just could be crazy enough to be true.
We've narrowed it down to it's good or it's bad or it's not.
Or it could be that it's a clock if there's 12 of them like there is on the picture.
These things are cool.
I'm going to start timing the intervals for the skulls to be dropping.
Against what?
My perfect sense of beat.
Yes, I'll buy that. Perfect sense of beat.
Okay, so we've determined there's nothing on the plinth. We have gross murals. We have somebody who may or may not be associated with the initial schism.
Right.
That was either crucified or deified in the image work here.
Right.
And then we have the creepy organ left, the fonts of blood, and the giant skull.
I didn't say fonts of blood, but
Are they?
No, but we can get there.
Were they?
The altar is probably the big. Well, let's talk about what you can see from here.
Oh, and where does my heart take me?
Probably to the organ.
Out the door?
That's really.
I still think to the organ because it's a heart.
That's really. Oh God! Really? Really?
No way.
Oh my God, man!
See what I have to live with?
Kind
By
of.
the way, would anyone like Ash to look at the mural?
Oh. Well, wait on the mural is not probably the weird thing. There's lots of weird things you can look at in there. Wait to cash in that XP because you can only really do it once a room. So.
Well, it's for somebody else.
Right. I'm just saying, you might as well leverage it at some point where it's not. The murals, you're not probably going to get a lot of more mileage on. And we'll assume Ash is looking. The altar.
In other words, does anyone want to poke you to look at something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, yeah.
So the altar.
Let's wait for the more important piece.
Let me give you the quick summary here. Opposite the entrance, so the great altar, shaped like a fanged skull. A bowl sits on the altar. Well, the altar's sort of in front of the skull. A bowl sits on the altar. And to see what's in the bowl on the altar, or to anywhere, actually get up near the altar, you actually need to walk into the skull's mouth. So that gives you an idea of the layout. So it's like,
ew.
The altar is kind of where the tongue would be, I guess, if there were a tongue in a skull, which there isn't.
Lower jaw.
Yeah, lower jaw. The organ.
All is angry.
The organ is. I'm assuming Edward's going over there.
Yeah, since he has a thing for.
Definitely an organ.
Organ.
Definitely an organ.
So do all the farmers' daughters. Yes.
So definitely an organ. Definitely keys made of finger bones. Maybe pipes. Thigh bones from some enormous animal. The ends of the pipes are stained like some dead animal's teeth. So there you go.
And somebody was going heavy on the aesthetic here.
I didn't hear that. Say that again.
I said somebody was going heavy on the aesthetic here.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're definitely really, and that's a lot of finger bones and thigh bones and what have you. And since Torwin seems so interested in those fonts, let me get over the basins. South of the altar, across the doorway, are two basins built into the walls, filled with blackened water. Both of the basins appear to be filled with teeth.
Nice.
That, I mean, in many cases, still have the roots. Some are in good shape, some are in bad shape.
Wait a second. Are they full of blackened water or teeth?
Yes. Yes. Water with
teeth
in
in blackened water.
Yeah, like a. The inside of the bowl, okay. Like the metal has. Let me rephrase it. The inside of the basins has been blackened right up to the water line. So the metal's been black or tarnished, whatever you want to call it. And then within the water, the basin itself is full of teeth. And each one of these basins is like the size of a really good sized sink. So like a bigger, those fancy little basin sinks that you can get now. And that's what you see in that. So
that's cool.
Starting clockwise, Edward, what you doing?
Yes, I start off with a toccata and fugue because it's so appropriate for this particular setting. No, I do not.
If someone plays box
I'm actually
toccata,
probably.
There's actually a paragraph in here for what happens if somebody plays box toccata and fugue in D minor.
I already said I was not doing that.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I'm just saying.
But I am impressed that they actually included that in the text.
There is a disturbing amount of detail in terms of every crazy, goofy.
And I probably don't want to play
thing.
chopsticks either.
Oh, you have no idea. You really don't. I do have to share one. If someone plays Gershwin or unaccompanied jazz on the organ, the musician is slain instantly unless the player of that PC is over 60 years of age, in which case everyone smiles politely and badly needs a drink.
Tell me about the doors for this room.
The doors? Okay.
It looks like a normal door to the north, but there's something funky about that doorway to the...
Yes, indeed. There's a rune. Both basins are filled with teeth and marked, and each one of the basins is marked with a rune that you don't.
A different rune?
Yeah. No, same rune on both of them. The door is bronze. It has no handle. You might be able to figure out what the rune, that might be a clue as to figure out what the heck's going on over here.
So I'm sorry, there's a rune on the door as well.
No,
then
there's no rune on the door. There are runes on the, and the map itself isn't actually accurate. The way it should be is that there's, hang on, where's my mouse? Like it's basin, door, basin. At least that's how I envision it. I don't think whoever did the cartography on this actually got it right. So it's like a basin on either side of the door.
So like my immediate thought is kind of the little water basins next to the doors in Catholic churches, at least.
Sure. Although the purpose seems to be back.
I really don't want to dip my hands into the blackened water before I try the door.
Yeah, I mean, indeed. And this may be not so much like enter the door and take the water. It might be.
You've left the operating chamber. Here's where you wash all the ichor off of your hands.
Sure.
Well, I see it more like if you're talking about parts. I mean, so a teeth can be something, around, speaking, or the skulls are toothless. There might be a connection with, with that in some fashion.
Right. You can do Dave, if you're so inclined, you could do spout lore probably. I mean, it's an intelligence roll. You might be able to figure out what the rune is.
Sure.
You and Tiana together at least might be able to work it out because it's sort of, people.
Why don't you assist me?
So
yeah, because you don't want me.
Yeah, this will be tricky. Roll. So Tiana, you need to roll int.
Thank you.
Yeah. And all you're trying. That's actually not bad. So, Dave, you can take +1 forward on whatever you roll. So you can take an additional. Okay. It's not a double digit. It still pushes up to a 9. Okay. You're not. So Dave kind of like, or Edward's kind of looking at this, and neither one of you really has a good guess as to the rune. You're more looking at the whole picture, because you're really that kind of you're that kind of a scholar, which is to say not one, but more like what's the aesthetics of this space.
It's feng shui.
Yeah, and you kind of look
morbid and creepifying.
So after a little bit, it occurs. I mean, you kind of. Do you ever have a thing in any of your temples or anything where you have to like pay some kind of offering before you can go further into the Holy of Holies kind of thing?
Oh.
You.
Right.
So that would be a yes then? This is next. So at least you have a guess as to what needs to happen there? Moving on. Basler, what are you doing?
I'm going to fish around for some fake currency in my pocket because fuck if I'm paying real money to get through here.
Well, there's no money in it.
Not money, dear. It's teeth.
It's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a basic full of teeth.
They have to have some sort of international visitors policy. Foreign currency. Okay, this is basic functionality.
Just keep telling yourself that, dear.
Oh, the dog is barking outside.
Although I wonder, does it have to be teeth? Does it like any bone will do?
Looks pretty specific.
Yeah, there are no other.
Unless you want me to put my finger bone in there.
Or maybe you see different approach. You see hand to play on the piano.
Hey,
organ.
Yeah. Take the hand and just kind of mash it on the keys. Ash, what are you doing?
That is a good question.
I just picture him in the circle of like hanging skulls, just waiting for the next one to drop, like just with his kind of hand up to his mouth, just like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon.
Let's see if this is the average rate of ice meltage at above freezing temperatures. We should see another one drop, given that they're all in about the same area, somewhere in about the next 5 or 10 minutes, if it has nothing to do with any supernatural.
Right about then, one of them drops.
All right.
Everyone looks at Edward.
And Ash,
time check.
10 minutes. Almost exactly. In fact, you would guess probably exactly 10 minutes.
How many skulls are there?
12.
10 now.
So it's like
that's
2 hours. Do they seem to be melting at different rate? All right. Let me ask this. I ask Ash. Take a look at this interesting and important thing here.
Awesome.
By the way, was it two contiguous skulls, like one right next to each other?
Yeah, that would be like the second.
Yeah, and is the next one the only one that's dripping, or
No,
all of them?
They're all dripping, and they're all dripping about the same. So if you were looking at them, you'd think they'd all fall at the same time if they're going to fall at all. It was this one, and then the one immediately to the left dropped.
So, Doris.
Yes, left from some direction.
So, since I spent a few minutes just like
pondering.
Yes, pondering about all of this. Can I use my let me see that?
When you take a few moments to handle or examine something interesting, ask the GM 2 of the following questions. The GM must answer truthfully. Sure.
So, what does this do?
Oh, that is a hell of a good question.
That is a good question.
That is a really good question. So while you guys have been doing this other stuff, Ash has been setting up like some crystals and some lenses to kind of like look through the crystals, and he's been setting them up in a few spots. A couple of these little
rocks.
Little rods, okay.
Rocks.
Say that again.
Rocks. Throwing like little bits of dirt onto parts of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm picturing you like sort of taking like almost like an aura reading on this whole.
Oh yeah, no, that's probably happening as well.
Yeah. Okay. So just a lot of sort of alchemical / magical / clock punky dowsing, magical dowsing going on in this area. And he's been kind of just fiddling with this stuff and looking at the thing. There's some sort of warding magic connected to these things. You're pretty sure. It seems to be breaking down, but it's not. It's not the whole. These things do not represent the whole of the ward. They're buttresses. They're reinforcing elements of a greater ward.
So if my ward was breaking down and I wanted to reinforce it so that it would last longer, or at least maintain its strength over time, I would build something like this.
Or if you're like, well, that's one ward. It'd be really nice if we had 2 layers of ward. So let's build another layer around the first layer, just in case.
So this would be my outer ward. This would be my chain link fence around which my house is nicely secured with its own locks and doors and such.
Exactly.
Should we be closing the doors here so that the temperature in here doesn't rise any further? Or do we think that will make a difference?
I don't think that'll make a difference.
You could try and find out.
So, how long do we know how long it is until sunset or nightfall?
15 minutes ago.
I'm gonna go. I have to go with Ash's answer. Probably a ways, but which isn't to say it's concurrent with these things falling or anything like that.
Well, that's good at least. It's not like, in about 2 hours.
Yeah, no. It's already dark, so you're as screwed as you're going to get at this point in time in terms of what's going on up top.
But as soon as that observation is made, everyone feels this incredible need to yawn.
Which you all suppress manfully or womanfully. Or in Torwin's case, totally yawn without even realizing that he's doing it.
Does the harpsichord or organ now start playing a lullaby?
It absolutely does not play anything. Although that would be awesome.
So
the door north, incidentally, just seems to be a door. So just so you know about that. Torwin, what are you doing? Ash, I'll flip back to you because you were about to ask something too.
Oh, I was.
We'll get there in just a sec.
I'm gonna go be looking at the altar.
Okay.
Because it seems like the biggest and most
Big and shiny.
Are you like
focal point of the room?
Actually,
And skulls are red.
Are you doing the cool thing where you like actually get up next to the altar and are standing inside of the skull?
Yeah, I'm gonna look around in it, start pushing on stuff.
You're tall. You're tall enough where you can actually like sort of like hook the inside eyeball, like eye socket, and pull yourself up to kind of like peek over the eye socket and look out at the rest of the thing.
Because always in
Did
these
we
kinds
just look at Dave's picture? Is that what you're trying to do? Are the eye sockets rubies?
No.
Well, always
If they
in
were,
these
I'd be done on that by now.
situations, if there's a giant skull that looks like it can fit people, there's probably a secret door somewhere. So I'm gonna go in there and be pushing on stuff.
Secret door to eternal damnation.
Maybe.
Down into the belly of the beast.
Or to all the gold and glory and stuff.
The altar has that bowl on it, as I mentioned, a big, wide, shallow thing, and in it is a.
Go ahead.
Yes, in it is a dagger, encrusted with jewels. It seems to be like sort of, like the bowl seems to be made shallowly enough so the thing, like the dagger looks like it's sort of meant to be there. And then sort of arranged around the dagger inside the bowl is this like ruby necklace. Both just probably insanely valuable. But also very clearly also part of whatever it is that they did here.
Part of the regalia.
It's part of the regalia and clearly part of this whole.
Is that the source of the mystery?
No. No, that's probably
through the door.
That's probably behind this other door.
Of course
Although
it is.
there's some. You're getting mixed signals here, Tiana. You've got easy door and you also have hard door, and both of them seem to have.
So.
Reply hazy. Try again in an hour and 40 minutes.
But the mouth and the altar itself are not.
No, they don't seem to be part of it.
Is the altar in the
Okay,
mouth?
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, the altar is inside. You have to literally be to be standing next to or especially behind the altar. You have to, and even be in front of it. If you're next to the altar, you are inside the skull's mouth. It's carved like a. It's just carved out like that, like a space, and that's where if there was a priest there at the altar, he'd have to be inside of it. If there was a sacrifice on the altar, it was inside of it. Blah 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 blah.
Do I see anything else in the inside of the skull?
No, there's the altar. It's pretty spare in here. It's the altar, the bowl, the ridiculously fancy dagger, and the even more ridiculously well, no, actually, the dagger's even probably more ridiculously fancy than the necklace, but they're both ridiculously fancy.
Is it? I mean, is there an appropriate amount of dust and stuff in here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, place hasn't been used.
Okay.
I mean, there's not a lot of dust, but there is certainly dust, and you're not seeing any indication that there's been any. I mean, it's the sort of thing that Basler. Well, actually, I love the fact that you checked that. You sort of mentioned checking that first, but you actually look for tracks, and the only disturbance of the dust that you see is you guys. So there isn't like been traffic here. There's no like repeated traffic through the doorways, around the altar, any of that kind of stuff. So you're the first footsteps in here. You're going to go on a wild guess and say 50 years, because that was when the big battle happened. So, Basler, what you doing?
So I'm torn between actually taking valuable stuff from here and not offending the dark god and his trappings of worship.
Yeah.
So I'm compromising. It seems to me that.
So I'm compromising. That's awesome.
It seems to me that anything they've kind of left behind that's not like part of the official regalia, it's probably up for grabs.
Okay. What would
the
that?
Other thing?
What would that include? Well, so far, At this point in time in this room, you haven't seen anything that comfortably qualifies for you.
Well, I was about to say the other thing about this room is that it's very big and very public, and it's got this niche for a priest to officiate and do ceremonies. Where does that priest go when they're not having ceremonies? There feels like there ought to be an adjacent room for storage and private chambers and things like that. So I'm looking for that.
That's probably the other room.
Yeah, probably this way.
So I'm kind of thinking. Yeah. I'm kind of thinking I want to check that out.
Okay.
I'll generate a new character right now. I'm sorry.
1 second. So yeah, definitely old. Actually, let me flip you guys to la la la. You're gonna need to scroll down a bit for this one. Just pull you guys over here.
It's us.
Yeah, that's one. Oh, let me get things in order here.
Okay, then I have a question after that.
Ready? And Ash had one too, and I'm going to have him ask first since he's been waiting a little bit longer. So, Ash, what was your thing you were going to?
So, for my second question for this.
Oh, yes, you had a second question. My bad. Sorry.
Yes. So, under the assumption that this is a ward,
okay,
and that first, the skulls dropping down are it weakening, or at least it running its course.
Counting down.
Yeah, sure.
What is wrong with this, and how might I fix it?
Okay.
That.
Let me just get. Oh wait, I'm doing wrong. Over in this area. Edward's kind of over in this area. Dazzler. Just gonna keep using that icon. It's so good.
Dazzler disappears off the map.
Never to be seen, or better yet, heard from again.
Complaining all the way.
Mother puss bucket.
And click.
Ooh, a hallway of doors.
Indeed. You asked exactly the right question for that. I mean, that's this certainly reads like priest and acolyte dormitory to your experienced Temple Robin eyes.
How much experience do you have in that?
Just FYI. What can I do to what is wrong with this thing, and what can I do to fix it? You're pretty sure that souls were involved. You're not sure now that the breakdown has begun at this. You might be able to rebuild it from scratch if you had 12 volunteers. And 10 years to figure out how the hell they did it in the first place. You're not even sure that slowing it, that it can be slowed, honestly. You're also not sure if you're also not entirely convinced that it's catastrophic if it does break down, because again, outer ward. So the answer is there may not be an answer, but you don't necessarily need to worry about everybody instantaneously dying once the last skull hits the ground.
Okay. Well, would I, from that question at the very least, would I be able to figure out if it was something we brought in, which has caused this to start degrading?
The door opening, the double doors.
Okay.
Almost assuredly, the double doors opening, like sort of like crack the freshness seal.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to at least announce that over to you guys. It's like, so opening the door started this, and I don't think it's going to stop even if we close it.
Yeah.
So let's keep moving. Let's keep moving.
Well, wait.
Possibly with haste.
Wait a second.
Oh, Torwin had a question as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there is anything I was kind of... Since I'm still holding the ruined hand...
Yeah, okay.
Is there... Am I feeling anything from it?
Off the hand? No. It is, as near as you can tell, just a dead hand. I mean, now, to be fair, your magical sense is not a thing that actually exists. So, but it's definitely not reacting to any of this in here. Ruined hand, ruined hand. Oh, yes. Actually, yeah. Ruined hand or ruined hand. Either one of those. I just realized I forgot to look at this. Just people have been sharing pictures that I didn't look at. I feel like I haven't been doing my... Oh, really? The player's handbook. Illustration, very nice.
Thus the comment about the giant ruby eyes.
What is this whiteboard thing I'm looking at?
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, yeah! Love that. Such a good movie. Such a good movie. Oh, it's 10:30. Oh, shit.
All of a sudden,
no. It's 10:30.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, we're going to have to cliffhanger right here. No, doesn't seem to be any reaction. It does not begin inching its way towards the organ or anything of that nature. There are not, just FYI, Dave, there are not ridiculous entries with regards to the organ as well. Just so you know. It's mostly just like there's a page of, if the players decide to screw around with this thing, here's how to punish them terribly.
good thing I've learned my lesson.
Well, you know, but there's actually like, if they're, you know, although I will say playing the notes that Peter Venkman plays at Dana's apartment in Ghostbusters. See, I can tell you this because I know you're never going to do it. A shrill scream echoes throughout the shrine, and everyone present gets a +1 to all saves made in the shrine or anywhere on the mountain because the spirits hate that.
Nice.
Somebody did their jokes only for the DM's eyes kind of work really well. So take that for what it's worth. Anyway. All right, so Basler's looking here. The door immediately to your right is locked. If you were a betting man, and you are absolutely a betting man, you're looking at that going, oh yeah, High Priest chambers, totally. You don't really have a good guess about anything else, but that's something you're willing to lay good money on. And
Also
the rest of it, you're not sure, but yeah, this looks like acolyte priest chamber type area up this way. So that's what you've got there. Torwin, are you leaving this mouth of the skull before it bites down? I'm just kidding.
Torwin, do you have any toothaches or feel the need for any dental work?
No,
Tiana, as a paladin, is fully qualified to assist with such ailments.
No.
Okay. And I'm going to.
Would you like to?
I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going to leave you guys right there.
Giant skull.
With Torwin having stepped out of the skull at least a little bit to talk to Edward. Edward and Tiana over next to the basin of teeth. Ash, still near the skulls, and Basler having opened the door and peeked up ahead and said, "Yep, priest quarters." And right then, the third skull drops. It is the next one to the north.
In order.
Like this one.
So
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And
I have an idea.
That's not a good sound.
And we're going to stop right then with Torwin going, "Hey guys, I have an idea," and we're going to pick it up Hopefully next week. Yes? I think next week.
I got my trip, but I should be able to make it to this session.
Okay. Cool. Well, next week is not the week of the 20th, 25th, right, or something, whatever.
Yeah, it's the week of the 18th.
Okay.
We should be good for that. We will. Well,
it's the one after that. You guys are off to colleges and stuff.
Yeah, we're getting home that night, and.
All right. I hope you can come because it's funnier when you're all here.
The 18th, the 18th, I'm going to be packing, so there shouldn't be any problems with that.
Okay.
But the 25th, I'm definitely going to be in Virginia.
That's fine. 25th, I won't be able to do anyway because I think I'm going to be on Block Island on the East Coast with my family. It's highly unlikely. First of all, the game would be starting at 10. Well, I don't know. Actually, you guys are going to be on the road, so never mind. But I mean,
but next week is good.
Next week is good, and we're gonna do what we can do to see how far we go. Get.
All right.
See how close we can to killing everybody.
Yes.
I have a plan that will kill at least one person.
You?
Not
Most
it.
likely.
Not it.
It involves starting by touching the blessed the anti-blessed evil things that are part of the religious regalia. That's practically guaranteed to kill somebody.
I have to say, I'm shocked that Torwin didn't do that.
I drink. Honestly, I'm going to count my blessings.
I was about to. I have a better plan, though.
He has a better plan than the thing that'll probably kill him. Okay. Does it involve drinking all the water out of both basins?
No, it involves blood. Because it's a death cult. Of course everything is activated by blood.
Or teeth.
Or teeth.
Or bones. Or
bloody teeth.
Bloody teeth.
The thing about the teeth, though, I'm convinced is not like a regular thing, because that means you can only go to church 32 times. And this feels much more like a
ritualistic.
This feels more like a lifetime investment that you would be making.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, that doesn't really help because your life could be very short. But
32 weeks.
Maybe it's just like for Easter service. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's once a year. Yeah.
You think about this though. You're in the chapel, so the only reason to go past this chapel would be if you're really
to the rectory.
If you're really going like into the.
If you want to become a priest,
like
you want to,
like the deeper secrets or whatever. So
yeah, but what if they got a convert who's really old?
Would you like to learn more?
Just lost all his teeth.
That he sounds like an excellent sacrifice.
Damn it!
I don't know. I guess you
how very Mormon.
So
I am refraining.
Would you like to get to the next circle? Well, there's just a small price to pay.
Hey, Joyce.
Yes.
Before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Before we what? Yes.
Before we wrap up, when you reach the end of the session, answer these 3 questions as a group.
All right. Yes, thank you for this. I would have forgotten again.
Yes. Did we learn something new and important about the world? I feel yes on several fronts.
New and important and horrible. Yes.
Yes.
Don't take marbles.
All right. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
No.
Did we loot a memorable treasure? Well, I'm sure we'll all remember the ruined hands. I don't think they're treasure.
Yeah, they're not treasure as such. No, there hasn't been any looting of treasure yet, and at this point in time,
that's
least,
a miracle.
Torwin has not done the horribly Torwin-esque thing.
So, for each yes, everyone marks the XP.
Yay! So have an XP.
Whoa! I actually get XP.
What's that?
And then
I actually get XP.
Have you not?
No, you should have gotten one for me telling you that
No.
No,
I don't get it when you guys do it.
Yeah, you have for Torwin to get XP, he needs to fail or hit other people's flags.
Yes, or look at your alignment. If you fulfill that alignment at least once this session, mark XP.
So in this case,
no, because Tiana kept me from doing stuff.
Well, your alignment thing is defend those. Oh yeah, you know what though? You can take an XP for you were trying to defend those you perceive as weaker than you from the.
It was just somebody else had to.
It's just that
perceived you as weaker than them, and therefore
Yeah, Tiana
jumped
had
in front of that.
one of Tiana's things is what was it? Let me keep you from going first into danger so I can go myself. Okay, you guys were both trying to. Actually, you guys can both take a point of XP for you because both of your things really work to counter. You guys each need to figure out somebody you're going to babysit so you can stop stepping on each other's toes trying to protect each other.
No. See, here's the thing. It's an XP loop for Torwin. Torwin wants to protect him or Tiana. Tiana won't let him. Therefore, Torwin both gets his alignment XP and the flag XP from Tiana.
Nice. Well, he wasn't
Mark
trying
II.
to. In this,
Mark II
in this
XP.
case, he wasn't trying to protect Tiana. He was trying to protect Basler of all
Edward and
people.
Bassler.
Yeah. Trying to protect
Nobody does that.
Nobody.
What?
Who's protecting
No, I
Basler?
think that Torwin actually hit his own flag, which is persuade me to do something dangerous for the call of glory.
No, that's just.
I hit my own flag all the time.
Yeah. Your own flag all the time. Yeah, but Torrent's got it. I would say Torrent's got at least 2. There was.
I know Torwin at least asked Ash in one of the sessions, hey, take a look at this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should have went for that as well. Because you kept going, hey, well, honestly, that's his opening move with everything. Guys, come and look at this. It's so cool.
At least once that counted.
Yes, it absolutely counted at least once. So at least give yourself like 3 XP. Plus, I know you had a failure because you went face down in the snow.
Yeah, I was at 1 XP.
Oh, well, you should have, what is that, 4 now?
4,
We'll
at
get you there.
least.
Ash leveled early because he had some XP from the last time I tried to kill him.
Worked well.
So he doesn't count. And Edward and Tiana kind of went into some weird synergy thing there where they were each
playing off each other. Really
playing
well.
off each other and bouncing off of Torwin all at once. So that kind of set up. Basler only has 5. It's you and Basler there. You need to start playing.
We need to start letting you hit us.
I've just had a really bad headache all night, so I've been kind of slow.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We'll get you there. Hopefully we'll feel better next week. Thank you guys. That was fun. We got through 3 whole rooms, but it was total. Actually, 3 rooms. So 2.5.
I was about to say, in 2 hours, that's fun.
That's actually pretty good. And they're big rooms. One of them's really, really big, and one of them was super creepy, and one of them Edward accidentally booby trapped with his own curiosity. So call it 4 rooms, really, honestly. All right. I actually, the whole thing with Edward's thing was me remembering as I'm wrapping up the game and driving to work the next day, going, God, they rolled a bunch of 6s. I really should fuck them for that. I totally forgot to have any hammers come down because of those failures. So I'm going to have them all roll up to the clock breaks because Edward screwed with stuff.
I think it was terribly appropriate.
I think it felt good to me. It felt really good to me. So,
Ash made the smart move.
yes, leave.
Which is what he does.
Leave. Yeah, part of it is that he gets to make a smart move over and over and over. There's a room in here I cannot wait for him to get to. I am just rubbing my mental hands together with glee.
If it's the room that I just look in and just say, nope, toss a flask in and shut the door behind me.
Oh, I don't even want to think about what would happen if you did that. That'd be fun. All right. I'm going to get going, guys, because my voice is starting to crack, and I still have to talk tomorrow morning. So,
All right. Thank you all, folks.
Say that again.
The game you were talking about is Skies of Arcadia. I'm happy to talk about that anytime you want.
Okay. Thank you. That was pretty cool. It sounded really. It's old though. It's not something I could go and find, right?
It's old, but it could be obtained if you tried. But yeah, just watch videos. You'll get the sense of it.
Okay.
It's well loved.
Is it?
Yes.
It's weird. I've never heard of it. That's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Skies of Arcadia. Making a note.